Assalamualaikum and hi everyone. My name is Siti Aisyah binti Yaya. I am a member of Group 3. Now, we will like to present our work entitled Federalism in Malaysia. Among the contents that we will present first is the concept of federalism. The second is the strength and weakness of federalism in Malaysia. The third is issue. The fourth is solution. And the fifth is conclusion.
Concept federalism. A federation of or federal state is a political body described by a combination of partly self-governing states or provinces united by a central government. In a federation, there is a self-governing status of the element state and there is also separation of powers between them and the central government that is explicitly demonstrated in the Constitution and may not be amended by a unilateral decision of the latter. The federal is a type of government or constitutional structure that power and resource are divided into different hierarchy of administration. Federalism of Malaysia. Malaysia is a system of government comprised the federal state and local government. Malaysia also is 13 states united and joined together within a constitutional monarchy using the British system and is categorized as a representative democracy. The federal government adopts the principle of separation power and has three branches: executive, legislature, and judiciary. Also have their respective executive and legislative bodies. As you can see, the main components of the Malaysia government system. Next is separation of power. Is the doctrine and practice of dividing the power of government among the different branches to guard against abuse of authority. A government of separated power assigns different political and legal power to legislative, executive, and judicial branch. Legislative branch has the power to make law. Meanwhile, executive branch has the authority to administer the law and to appoint officials and oversee the administration of the government responsibilities. And lastly, judicial branch has the power to try cases brought to court and to interpret the meaning of law under which the trials are conducted. That's all.
The next point is the strengths and weakness of federalism. In this slide, we can see in strengths, there are some of the strengths of adopting federal system of government. The first point of federalism strength is to ensure that government remains close to the people because the state government argue that they are more in tune with the daily needs and aspirations of people, especially relevant to small and isolated places. For instance, the government always wanted to approach to the people and to ensure their daily needs is enough for them. The next point here is to encourage development of the nation in a decentralization and regional manner and allows for unique and innovative methods for attacking social, economic, and political problems. For example, the government have the power of making a decision to overcome and find solution to our problems such as economic. The final strength is to provide a barrier to the dominance of the majority. For instance, this point means the strength of federalism need to prevent the dominance of majority to ensure that people are not influenced by other parties. The next point is the weakness of the federalism. The first point is it can lead to duplication of government and inefficient overlapping or contradictory policies in different parts of the country. For example, the government has no permanent establishment on the system to govern the people. The second point is it can lead to inequality between the states and lead to unhealthy competition and rivalry between them. For instance, in this weakness we can see that they have a low and unsystematic procedure on managing and trigger the unhealthy competition. The last point is it can lead to overgovernment that will result to corruption. For instance, the government will end up with the corruption if they always keep on arguing or fighting to have a power to lead the people.
The next point is issue of federalism in Malaysia. Throughout the concept of federation since 1985, this concept was never silent with the issues and polemics. Obviously, after establishment Federation of Malaysia in 1963 up to nowadays, the issue are focusing on relation between state governments and federal government. The duality of government leads to some issues that can be discussed between them. The first issue is in terms of constitutional amendments that give full authority to the federal government through legislation in the parliament. There is clearly can be viewed here that there is no involvement of state governments. However, the amendments regarding territorial changes to the boundaries of state should get concerns from the state government. At the same time, the amendments regarding rights of Sabah and Sarawak also should get approval from their state governments. The second issue is the proclamations of emergency is really killing the power of states. When the emergency enacted, any law that require the consultation of states no longer apply the consent of states. However, there are 6 matters that cannot be amended, which are religion, citizenship, language, Muslim law, custom of Malay, and the native law in Sabah and Sarawak. This situation looks like likely the federal government to be unitary system.
In discussing about the federalism issue, it clearly can be seen that the power federal government holds is much more than the state government. The power of federal government can be viewed through the power in constitutional amendments as well as power to declare the emergency law. At the same time, federal government also have a power to interrupt matters of state like signing a treaties regarding the state or secondment of public official or establish a council to advise the state government. On the other side, the limited source of revenue by state government requires state government to be dependent on the federal government, and sometimes they discriminated the state ruled by opposition party. Lastly, in the term of law, inconsistency and clash law enacted by state to the federal government will lead to law by federal government dominated it. Thus, from the issue, it clearly can be seen that federal government hold more authority than state government. Overall, it can be concluded that the more power federal government hold, it will lead to positive and negative impact. From the positive side, the more power federal government holds, it will give full commitment in the administration nationally as well as give positive relationship internationally. On the other side, the more revenue of federal government have, it will ensure the government will run administration smoothly, especially the one that need astronomical number of expenditure. However, from the negative point of view, the state government will lack budget in running their administration and requiring them to borrow more funds in fulfilling their needs. Also, the less power given to the state government will make them look incompetent and dysfunction in the people's minds. Therefore, toleration and good communication from the both sides is needed to bring balance and smart administration in the government.
And in conclusion, Malaysia is federal parliamentary and monarchy system of government. There are different levels of government such as federal government, 13 state governments and local level. In addition, the country is ruled by a monarchy and prime minister working and consulting together. The king is the head of the state and appoints the prime minister who comes from the majority party or coalition in the lower house and the cabinet after advice of the PM. Malaysia federalism is unique compared with other federal systems in the world today. It has the Conference of Rules which consists of 9 Malay kings and 4 governors of the state. Federal Parliament has House of the Representative which is elected by university adult suffrage and Senate which most of the members are appointed by the monarchy with the consultation of the PM. The monarchy of the country is not inherited like a Great Britain, but the monarchies of the 9 Malay states elect him by seniority and rotation. The states are ruled by monarchies and governors. State governments are led by chief minister. The executive council is similar to the cabinet at the federal level. Thank you.